15 years. That's how much of a gap was between Super Mario Sunshine and Super Mario Odyssey. Sure, we had a lot of 3D Mario games within those 15 years. Super Mario Galaxy had tight platforming wrapped around a story with a grand scale. Super Mario Galaxy 2 refined the gameplay from the first game and admittedly had more fun and unique gameplay. Super Mario 3D Land was a short and simple yet fun romp that showcased just how impressive the hardware capabilities of the 3DS console were. And Super Mario 3D World was an overlooked joy, refining the gameplay style of 3D Land with more inspired and unique courses, and was able to nail down multiplayer for an extremely fun and fulfilling game. But none of those games, which were considered 3D Mario games, had the same appeal as Sunshine or even 64. Those two were heavily reliant on dropping the player on massive maps and having them complete missions that required them to go to different kingdoms or areas and achieve different feats. Meanwhile, the other games I previously mentioned, while extremely fun, all had a similar approach of getting from point A to point B. It felt linear, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but players were clamoring for that feeling that Sunshine and 64 gave them, myself included. Well, my prayers were answered on October 27th, 2017, when Super Mario Odyssey released on the Nintendo Switch to critical and commercial acclaim. The last time we saw any major news on Odyssey before its release was E3 2017, and if those impressions were anything to go off of...
What? What? Body possession! What is going on? What? No way! No way!
Yeah, people were pretty excited to say the least. But that's enough rambling for now. You all want me to talk about the game. I got it on launch day and was sweating with anticipation while inserting the cartridge into the Switch. I booted it up and started playing. I finished my playthrough of the game about a month later. So, is Super Mario Odyssey a good game? No. Super Mario Odyssey is a fucking amazing game. I know there are going to be some people who disagree with me and my take, so at the very least, allow me to explain. Super Mario Odyssey takes the freeform mission-like nature of Super Mario 64 and Super Mario Sunshine and amplifies it tenfold. 64 and Sunshine had this quirk to them, where every time you would collect a Power Star or a Shine Sprite respectively, you would be booted out of the area and sent back to the hub world. This boot-out system really took me out of my immersion while playing these games. I understand that it makes sense seeing as how the hardware for both of these games couldn't really rebuild the levels with a new mission structure, especially if that means that the map had to be completely rebuilt. But that's the thing. More often than not, that was not the case, and with Super Mario 64 specifically, that was almost never the case. It really rubs salt in the wound when the 100 coin star mission in Mario 64 doesn't boot you out, and every other star does. Super Mario Sunshine kind of sort of has a bit more of an excuse, as more often than not the changes you make per mission actually did restructure the map in some way, shape, or form, but that didn't make it any less infuriating. Not to mention Sunshine is guilty of something else that we'll discuss later. Meanwhile, Super Mario Odyssey relishes in its constant flow of gameplay. In this game, you're collecting Power Moons to power up your ship to take you to different kingdoms around the world. The game only requires you to collect 124 moons to beat the game, which is already more than the total stars available in 64 and Sunshine. But in total, there are 880 unique moons for you to collect over all these kingdoms, 999 if you buy more from the shop. Each time you collect a Power Moon, you get a jingle and a victory pose from Mario, as well as a description of the moon you just earned. And then you're right back into playing. No being taken back to your ship, no being sent to a different kingdom and having to trek your way back. You just keep playing. And let me tell you, playing this game is like a rush of endorphins to my brain from start to finish. 64 and Sunshine give Mario a versatile moveset to complete the missions of each kingdom, but they never really rewarded you for going off the beaten path with this moveset. In Odyssey, the philosophy is, if you can see something, there is a way to get there and you'll be aptly rewarded for going there. Mario's got his standard jumping and running, as well as some staples from previous Mario games, like the triple jump, the long jump, the backflip, the side flip, and the aerial dive. These are all great tools to traverse the areas as is, but now Mario has a new addition to his moveset: his hat. Mario is able to throw his hat and have it stay there for a few seconds. From there, there's so many possibilities. You can jump on your hat, you can dive on your hat, you can just watch it spin there for a few seconds, wondering how the heck it does that. It's really up to you. This addition allows Mario to traverse to places that he wouldn't be able to on his own. He can reach new heights, cross longer gorges, and if you're skilled enough with the moveset, you can reach places that seem impossible otherwise, and as mentioned earlier, you'll be rewarded for it. The ideal way to play the game is with the Joy-Cons detached using some motion controls, but I played it handheld or docked with a Pro Controller the whole time, and it still played extremely nicely. On that note, the levels in which you'll be moving around in are diverse and extremely fun to explore. You've got the beautiful and untouched Cascade Kingdom, the relaxing and warm Seaside Kingdom, the Winter Wonderland Snow Kingdom, and the fiery and delicious Luncheon Kingdom. All of these kingdoms utilize their unique gimmicks and layouts to their advantage, and allow you to get optimal playtime on each of them, with moons spread out to every corner of the maps, which will get you interacting with areas that seem unreachable at first, yet completely are. My personal favorite kingdom is the Sand Kingdom. I don't have any reason why, I really just find something so satisfying about rolling down these sand dunes and building up speed. And I haven't even mentioned the capturing mechanic. Thanks to the help of Cappy, Mario is able to take over the bodies of enemies, obstacles, and other NPCs in order to complete certain missions for moons. As soon as you take control of something, the controls are displayed on screen, so you're never really lost as to how to handle something like a Goomba or a Bullet Bill. This allows Mario even more freedom as to how you get around and get to certain points. Each kingdom has unique capturable objects, so it never feels like it's getting too stale. We've discussed Odyssey's freedom of movement, but how about the freedom of how you want to play? In Super Mario 64, you only need 70 stars to beat the game, and for the most part, depending on how many stars you have the freedom to pick and choose which levels you want to complete. For example, if you never want to go to Jolly Roger Bay, you really don't have to. Unfortunately, a lot of these stars are locked behind other stars, so if there's a level you like and you want to get all the stars, but you're stuck at one star in particular, then you're SOL. This isn't always the case, but it happens enough to become quite a bit of a nuisance. Super Mario Sunshine only requires you to need 50 shine sprites to beat the game. Unfortunately, it also requires you to beat the Shadow Mario mission of every single level, which is always the 7th mission, and just like 64, shine sprites are locked behind other shine sprites, so that means that no matter what, you'll need to beat the first 7 missions of every single level, no matter how you feel about them. That's kind of a dick move. Odyssey does have some required moons in order to progress the story in the form of the multi-moon, which equates to 3 moons in one. All in all though, the story moons don't even take up 10% of the total moons you need. I think it's barely 5%, but I'm too lazy to do the math right now. Hell, in order to even leave a kingdom for the first time, you'll be required to find more moons on the side, but don't fret, since there are moons literally everywhere, so you can pick and choose which moons you want to get. On the topic of moons, as mentioned before, there's 880 unique moons to collect in Super Mario Odyssey. One of the major gripes I see about this game is the abundance of moons isn't justified with how simplistic their unlock requirements are, and there's definitely an argument there, but I'd like to counter with a few things. 1. Most of the moons available don't take a lot of time to achieve them, so certain tasks being repeated aren't a huge deal, and those that do often require more time sunk into them have you go exploring these beautiful landscapes again, so I'm not really complaining there. 2. You only need 124 moons to beat the game, and there are more than enough extra moons that are substantial enough to quench your insatiable appetites. And 3. Bench Friends. Bench Friends has become a bit synonymous with the Mario Odyssey haters for exemplifying the moon problem to the nth degree. It requires you to sit down next to a random NPC on a bench, and then you get the moon. In the grand scheme of things, it's pretty stupid and really doesn't make much sense. And yet it is my favorite moon in the entire game. It doesn't take long to complete, but it allows you to slow down and take in the moment. This random NPC is having a rough time, and the fact that you would just sit down next to someone you don't even know and just listen to him talk about his problems is enough to shift him into a positive mood, and that's where Mario Odyssey shines. Its charm. Super Mario 64 has bursts of charm here and there, and Super Mario Sunshine definitely isn't lacking in the charm department with its sunny locales and interconnected levels. But Super Mario Odyssey is just oozing with charm from every corner of the game. The levels are teeming with friendly and unique NPCs, the music is popping, you can dress Mario to play through almost the entire game in just his underwear, coins actually have a use in this game via the shops. The story shines a new light on both Bowser and Peach. The boss fights are all unique in their own ways. There's several mini-sections in levels that act as their own separate platforming challenges, and some even offer a more challenging hatless alternative. There's so much more that I could talk about in terms of the charm this game has to offer, and just the game in general. But just talking about it doesn't do the game any justice. It's not the perfect game, far from it. Why do you enjoy my pain? But I hope that, at the very least, I was able to convince you that Super Mario Odyssey is a stellar game, warts and all. And hey, even if I wasn't, that's fine. Everyone is entitled to their own opinions. Super Mario Odyssey is a 3D sandbox mission-based Mario game that not only allows players to take risks and explore wherever they want, but they reward and encourage it. It lets players decide which challenges they want to try, with very little halting their progress. And, it should go without saying at this point, but it is one of the most charming games out there. And honestly, when it comes to Mario, I couldn't ask for anything else.
Spin the wheel, take a chance. Every journey starts a new romance. A new world's calling out to you. Take a turn off the path, find a new addition to the cast. You know that any captain needs a crew. Take it in stride as you move side to side. They're just different points of view. Jump with me, grab coins with me, oh yeah. Come on and jump up in the air. Jump without a care. Jump up 'cause you know that I'll be there. And if you find you're short on joy, don't break it down again. Put a comb for you that's dash. Now you've got panache. So let's do the Odyssey. Odyssey, yes, see. 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 Odyssey, Odyssey.
Oh, and Luigi's here too, I guess.